Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again. So story time about April 2023. I went a bit off piste one day and decided to do a deck where I had purely battles in it with supporting cards. March of the Machines, I think it was, had just come out, and I decided to have a bit of fun and see how many battles I could play in the deck. There's a link down below to the original deck in the description if you want to go and have a look at it and watch the video and see the old deck list. But recently on the YouTube channel I got a comment from Mr. William Harrod 7624 here asking, rest in peace Dockside Extortion, and when you update this Mana Crypt Source Bar, I would love to see you change it. So I replied, yep, that's an issue with older decks, but I was just thinking about next week's vid, so we'll take the opportunity to run an update on this. And William came back and went, yep, they're all old. I was trying to build an all are old. So since it was requested on one of the videos from back in the day, I thought, well, it's time to do an update then. So here we go. For the deck, I've kept to the same commander I had back in April 2023 when I did Jenson Carthalion Druid Exile, green and white for a 2/2 human druid. That has the ability of whenever you cast a multicolored spell, scry 1, and if the spell was all colours, you get a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. And then you can pay 5 mana of any colour and add Wooburg. Yeah, I kept the commander. It's still the same commander, still a good card. And there's a couple of things that have come along since Jenson and I did the deck 2 years ago that I've added in. I have cut the number of battles down a little bit, so don't be surprised about that. But here we go. Here's what the updated version of my battles deck really does look like now. So, starting at the beginning, the Invasion of Asgol. Enters the battlefield, target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and loses 1 life. And then once you've taken all the counters off, remember, with battles you have to attack them or deal damage. Take off the number of counters in the bottom right hand corner, and then they flip into something else. You exile them and then it comes back in, as in this case the Ashen Reaper. Which is a 2/1 with Menace, and at the beginning of your end step, per +1/+1 counter on the Reaper if a permanent was put in the graveyard from the battlefield this turn. From there, we've got the Invasion of Urgamon. Enters the battlefield, create treasure, then you may discard a card if you do draw a card, and then when it flips into the Rhino. That does the same thing basically. The Invasion of Ikoria is one of the few non-multicoloured battles off still included, mainly because it goes and finds us something we want to put into play. So double green and X, go and find a creature, take 6 counters off it, and it becomes Zithora, Apex of Ikoria, which is a 8/8 reach dinosaur. For each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assigned its combat damage as though it wasn't blocked. Still a great card, doesn't see that much play, but still good in Commander. The Ixalan Invasion, look at the top 5 per permanent into your hand, and then the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Transforms into another dinosaur. Whenever you cast a spell, this 4/3 dinosaur becomes indestructible. The Invasion of Kaladesh comes into the battlefield, you get Thopter, and then when you get to take all the counters off, you get a vehicle. Power and toughness equals the number of artifacts you control, and power equal to the number of artifacts you control, and it's crew 1, and it flies. Invasion of Capenna is also in. You may sacrifice an artifact or creature. If you do, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. When you get it flipped, you get the Holy Frazzle Cannon, which is a nice bit of equipment you can chuck on one of your creatures. The Invasion New Phyrexia is one of the key cards in the deck. When you get there's not that many creatures in the deck now, but this does produce you a whole load of white 2/2 white and blue knight creature tokens with vigilance. So you want to pump X up as much as you can, and once you deal the 6, you get Teferi, a Koza of Sephael. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you decide a creature. You get an emblem with knights you control, get +1/+0 and have ward 1. And then you get to tap X creatures for the -3, and when you do, shuffle target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value X or less into its library. So, +1's pretty good. From there, Perelia gives you a scry 3, and then reveal the double top card of your library. If it's a land or double face card, you draw a card, which is nice, and then transforms into a big beast with trample and ward 2, and it gives other transform permanents you control have trample and ward 2. So all these battles that turn into creatures get a little bit of a pump from this guy. From there, Amaket ends the battlefield. Each player mills 3, then each opponent discards a card, and you draw a card. And then you get to have the Lazarus Convert, which is basically a clone. Invasion of Segovia is also in, gets you 2/1/1 blue Kraken creature tokens with trample, and then transforms into the Sea Tyrant. Gives all our non-creature spells convoke, and at the beginning of your end step, untap up to 4 target creatures, which is actually quite nice in this deck. Invasion of Theros, search your library for an Aura, God or Demigod card. Not going to find any of them, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. But the flip is quite good if you can get to flip. Has lifelink and indestructible as long as you control at least 3 other enchantments. And then whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Now, you do have the ability to do this. It's just you can't really do the search, but it's still a good card to have in from my point of view. Invasion of Innistrad, -13/-13 to a creature when it enters and then flips into Deluge of the Dead. You can start exiling people's cards from their graveyards, especially if you've got Vivi issues, which seems to be happening a lot in Commander at the moment. You can get some zombies to beat them up with. The Invasion of Kaldheim comes in, exile all cards from my hand, draw that many cards, and until the end of the turn you may play the cards exiled this way, and then it becomes the Pyre of the World Tree. Just discard your lands and start shocking wherever you want to, basically. But whenever you discard a land, exile the top card of your library, you may play that card this turn. So another way of getting through your library. The Invasion of Kalem is also in. Up to 2 target creatures get +2/+0 and have vigilance and haste until the end of turn. And then when you flip, it becomes a sorcery, which is a bit unusual. Create 2 3/2 red and white creature tokens with whenever this creature and at least one other creature token attack, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So basically, if you can get this to flip in a main phase somehow, which you probably won't be able to, but you still get the 3/2s, which is good. The Invasion of Morag enters, put +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and then it flips into the Bloom Wielder Dryads. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a Ward 2 ability. Invasion of Xerix is also in. Return target creature to its owner's hand, and then it flips into the Vertex Paladin. Power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control once you get down to 4. The Invasion of Alara is a multicolored one, so this is one of the few multicolored cards in the, well, all Wooburg cards, I should say. They're all multicolored mainly, but they're one of the few Wooburg cards in the deck. So you will get your Angel if you've got Jenson in play. Exile the cards from the top of your library until you exile at least 2 non-land cards from mana value 4 or less. You may cast one of those 2 cards without paying its mana cost. Put one of them into your hand. All the other cards go on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then, if you can get it to flip, Awaken the Maelstrom is all colours. And then target player draws 2. You may put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield. Create a token as a copy of a permanent. Distribute 3 +1/+1 counters and destroy target permanent. Yeah, okay then. That's a bit good. The Invasion of Chandelier from the old, very first Microsoft-based Wizards of the Coast Magic game. Everyone wants to go back to Chandelier. I'd love if we went back at some stage. But anyway, we turn 3 permanents from our graveyard to our hand, and then when we get to flip it, it becomes Leyline Surge, and you basically get to put things into your... At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So, yay. Invasion of Tovlar is also in. Return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then if you can flip it, the Broken Sky, creature tokens you control get +1/+0. And at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white and black creature token with flying. Finally, the Invasion of Lorwyn's in. Destroy target non-elf creature and opponent controls with power X or less, where X is the number of lands we control, so a nice bit of removal. And then flips into the Winnowing Forces. Power and toughness are equal to the number of lands we control when we get there. So that's the invasions. We've cut it down. There was 30 something in the original deck. I've cut it down to 20 now, mainly kept with most of the multicolored ones. So yeah, the Theros one's the only one I'm not sure about, but if you can get it to flip, I think it's still worthwhile. But Planeswalker-wise, Saheeli's here because we might as well get some servers as we're casting all our battles. Jared Carthalion is also in as well, so we can have those lovely Carvu non-token 3/3s with tramples, and then basically have all the multicolored stuff going on with Jared. Sarkhan Unbroken gives us cards or gives us dragons if we need them, so another way of taking care of our battles and getting their counters off. And then finally, because I want a little bit of fun in this deck, and I haven't played Nico Bolas for a long time, he's here. Destroy target non-creature permanent, gain control of a creature. If you can do the -9, you're going to be having a very good day. Thank you very much. As I said, creatures are few. There's only 15, but there's some new ones in here. So we've got Golfane Hydra because we want to pump this up and use all the treasures to cast our battles as we go along. Bloom Tenderer makes a lot of sense in this deck, so we can actually add loads of mana as we go through things. Hero of Precinct 1, because we are casting quite a few multicoloured spells, we might as well have this here to get some more tokens as we go along. Cura's Follower to untap another target permanent, and then the Omnaths. The Locus of Creation kicks off, so we can draw the card and then hopefully gain some life, and then if we can get another land coming into play somehow, adding the mana, or the fourth time, do all the damage. That's lovely. The Locus of the Royal is also here, and then hopefully we'll get 8 lands and start drawing cards. Yidris, Maelstrom Wielder, was also in the original deck, and it stays here because who doesn't like having the ability to cascade and get some damage in on someone? Jegentha the Wellspring wasn't in the original deck. It is here now. We can tap it once we've got the Summoning Sickness gone to add Wooburg, which helps us cast everything. Mr. Foxglove, because I'm in a multicolour deck and Mr. Foxglove is just good wherever I play it, so they're here today. The Omnath Locus of All is also here, so we can look at the top card of our library, and hopefully, because we've got a lot of things with 3 or more mana symbols in its mana cost, as you can see, we'll be able to add some mana and do all the bits that it does to help us out and win the game. Okachi, Vengeful Kami, is also still in the deck. We do like the Dragon Spirit. Deals combat damage to a player. If that player attacked you last turn, exile target non-land permanent that player controls. Enigma Sphinx, we can do a little bit cascading off the top as well. And then Kulith, the Unrivaled Ancient, also makes an appearance. Hopefully we can attack, add the mana we want to have, and then spend this mana only to cast spells. That's fine. Until the end of the turn, you don't lose the mana as steps and phases end. So it's pretty useful. It gives you a boost to the mana. 7 mana for 4/4 is a little bit expensive, but if you're looking from the point of view, it's 7 mana for a 4/4 that gives you 4 mana when it attacks. Even if it just attacks on its own, if you've got anything else you can attack with, you get loads of mana. Yeah, it becomes mana neutral eventually. Omnath Locus of Rage is also here because we need some way of getting some big things in play, and this is just nice. It gives us the elementals on landfall. And still from the original deck, the Maelstrom Wanderer makes yet another appearance in a cascading ability. So woohoo. Now, I have gone through the deck and added some bits in. So Doppelgang is here. Yeah, I like Doppelgang. I'm still having not had the luck to have it non-countered when I've cast it in a game of Commander. But in here, if you can just double up on, well, create target copies of some of your battles, you're going to probably have a really good day at some stage along. Or if you're just copying some of your non-legendary creatures is even better, you know. Having a few Bloom Tenderers and having a few Heroes of the Precinct 1 around, or Cura's Follower, isn't the worst thing you can do with Doppelgang at all. So that's why it's here. Farseek, Nature's Law, 3 visits give us some ramp. And they've also got Decimate now, because you usually get all 4 targets quite happily in a game of Commander, especially on MTGO. So you might as well have it here to upset people. And then Perenation, we can get a permanent back from our graveyard with a hexproof counter and an indestructible counter on it, which is really quite useful, especially we can get on something like Omnath, Kulith, someone like that if they get killed off. So it's here from the Dragonstorm. Instance, well, Assassin's Trophy's in to take out something annoying. Lightning Helix to deal with something small that's annoying. Terminate, Mortify, destroy a creature, destroy an enchantment. And then one of the cards that was in the original deck, Unite the Coalition, is also in. You may choose 5. You may choose the same mode more than once. Draw, or shock. Possibly destroy target artifacts or enchantments. You're probably not going to phase anything out, in all honesty, unless there's a creature in the way and you want to get past it to win the game. So that's possible. Artifacts wise, well, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Elixir of Immortality, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, and then one of the new cards from EOE, Infinite Guideline Station, makes perfect sense in this deck. We're going to have a whole load of multicoloured permanents at some stage, some of which we hopefully control, and then we're going to have a whole load of robots. And then if we can get this stationed up to 12, get in for the attack, and we'll just draw a card for each multicoloured permanent we control. Sounds like a plan to me. Enchantments, well, Mana Cannons makes a lot of sense in this deck. For some reason I didn't have it in the original one. I think it was available when the original one was done, but I didn't include it, which was a bit of a oversight on my part. But extra damage to any targets we cast a multicolored spell sounds good. Maelstrom Nexus was definitely in the original deck because you just want to cascade every time you play a spell for the first turn each turn. Mirari's Wake helps us produce the extra mana we need and bump all our creatures up so a little bit bigger to make things a little bit easier to deal with. And the Kami War, still in the original deck, and this is still good, especially if we can get it to flip into the Okachi Made Manifest. Yeah, just a nice flying creature, basically, at the end of the day. Lands-wise, well, we went down the whole let's have everything in here. Just realised Crucible of Spirit Dragons shouldn't be here. Sorry, I've copied the mana base from something and I should have taken this out. You can put it in. You do have a dragon in the deck if you really want to do it, but drop this out because that's just an embarrassment along with the Haven Spirit Dragon. So they both need to come out. My bad. Sorry. But, you know, at the end of the day, we can find other cards to put them in. Gemstone Cavern springs to mind. Yeah, off the top of my head, and Gemstone Mine. There you go. That's what you can do with them. Beyond that, everything else is pretty much things you would need in the deck. We've got all the search lands in here. We've got all the triomes in here, so on and so forth. 3-Tree City can stay in. I did notice this. World Tree's a no-brainer, by the way, just so we're clear on this, just to make sure all our lands can tap for anything. 3-Tree City, you do have a way of making quite a few elementals, so it must all stay in here because if you can get some of the Omnaths down, you can keep it in and keep it going that way. And that's it. That's my take, or my updated take on Jenson with all the battles. So I hope you've enjoyed this slightly longer than usual video today. It's just because I want to go through all the battles again because people haven't seen them for a couple of years. Let me know in the comments down below if you think there's anything I've missed out. Apologies about the land changes. You can make them yourselves, but I'll leave the deck list as it is for now. And that's it. I'll be back tomorrow when I'm looking at something else that A, I've just got as a promo, and B, I've just realised is available on MTGO. So for now, have a good one. Enjoy the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, help me build the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.